Hello everyone, Luxury Leaks here. While we are waiting for the new episode to release, today's video will be another analysis on the older videos. So that being said, today, we'll be analyzing. It was hiding in the closet, also is known as, it replaced her father at night. We'll be going over what's wrong with the father and what he's been doing at night. But before I start the video, don't forget to like and subscribe with post notifications, so you won't miss out any news on Life of Luxury and Luxury Dark, such as news, analysis, leaks, theories, etc. Anyways, here we go. In the intro, Parker said he got an email from a 53-year-old mother named Catherine. She's concerned that there's something horribly wrong with her husband. Catherine says that earlier this year, around 2020 or 2021, her husband joined a men's club, which believes in enhancing the body through physical transformation. Catherine says that since he joined this group, her and her daughter have noticed changes with his body and behavior. She says her husband now has a horrible rotting smell, and his new skin and face have been scaring her and her daughter. Here is proof of that issue that has been going on. Once they made it to Catherine's house and went to the front door, Parker knocked on it and Catherine opened it. Then Parker told her that they come to talk to her about her husband. Then Catherine hushed them and told them to be quiet because her husband doesn't know Parker and Chester are coming. Parker said him and Chester could be quiet, and they went in. Once they sat down, Parker asked her tell him and Chester what has been exactly going on with her husband. Catherine said it started when Eugene joined a group because he wanted a perfect body. So after his first meeting, he came home without his car, possibly coming home from the woods. She said when he came home, he locked himself in the basement and said she doesn't think he sleeps anymore. She said he locks himself in the basement all day. Parker asked what he does in the basement. Catherine said she thinks he's doing surgeries on himself, then said he doesn't look the same anymore. She also said his body is cold and lumpy, and the skin on his face looks like it's been pulled tight at the back. Parker asked why would he do all of this and asked does she think he was, like, insecure about his body before. Catherine said he was perfect before and said the way he looks now makes her sick. Parker asked her how Michelle feels about what's happening with her dad, Eugene. Catherine said she doesn't want him around Michelle anymore. She said she didn't tell Michelle about this, then said their cat went missing 2 days ago and she found the collar in the trash during the morning. She said Michelle loved that cat. Parker asked where is Michelle. Catherine said she's been in her room all day, said she thinks she's sick. Parker asked if it's okay to go talk to her about what's going on. Catherine said okay, and said her room is upstairs on the right. Then Parker and Chester got up and went to her room. Once they made it to her door, Parker knocked and asked if she's feeling okay in there. There was no response. Parker opened her door and see nobody was in there and the room was all trashed. Parker said the room is trashed. Then Chester said the same thing and also said it looked like there was a struggle. Parker asked to struggle with who. Parker said something isn't right here, and then both of them went back to the dining room where Catherine was. Once they've returned, Parker told Catherine that Michelle wasn't in her room. He asked if she's sure that she went to a friend's house or something instead. Then Catherine was confused and said Michelle is upstairs. Parker said they didn't see her and stuff was knocked over in her room too. Catherine repeated again. Parker said he saw nothing, and then suddenly, a sound of a door closing was heard. Chester asked who was it. Catherine started to feel uncomfortable, and once someone made it to the doorway, it appeared to be Catherine's husband, Eugene. Parker greeted him and asked if he's the husband and father. He said nothing and only made chewing noises. Parker told him that him and Chester went to Michelle's room and she went there and asked if he knows where she went. Eugene said Michelle went on a trip. Once he left the room, Catherine said she's gone. Parker said it was okay and said they didn't know that, and thought Eugene probably took her somewhere. Catherine said she wouldn't just leave. Parker comforted her and said they'll figure it out in the morning, and said him and Chester will go set up cameras. After that, they left to set up the cameras. While setting up cameras, they were about to set one in the basement, but once they saw the basement door, it had chains on the knob and on the wall along with a metal lock on it. Parker tried to pull on it but nothing happens, then said it was locked pretty tight and said he definitely cannot open it. Chester asked why would Eugene lock the door with chains. Parker said he doesn't know and set up the camera outside the door. Now Parker and Chester went to Eugene's room while he was in the bathroom. Once they got in, Chester said the room was creepy and told Parker to hurry because he wants to get out of there. Parker told him to give him a second. Chester looked around the room and found a thing that could be a shirt or bag. Once he touched it, it was wet. Chester went over to the closet and moved a blanket over and see there was a hole on the floor. He then wondered how deep is it and dropped down his watch. Parker asked why Chester is being so nosy, and Chester said there was a hole on the floor, and Parker told him the house is old and thought there's probably holes all over the floor. Then they went to Catherine's room next. Once they went to her room door, Parker knocked, and Catherine opened it. Parker asked if he could set a camera in her room. Catherine then opened the door, allowing them to set it up. Parker told her that they finished setting up cameras. Catherine said they gotta help her find her daughter. He said if she doesn't believe her husband, and she actually believes she's missing, they gotta call the police. She declined and said if they don't find her by the morning, they'll call. Parker said she's gotta think what's best for the family. Catherine said she can't stand Eugene's smile. Parker told her to try get some rest and then they left. Once they're getting ready for bed, Chester asked how Parker isn't getting the worst vibes from Catherine and said she doesn't want to call the police over her daughter and her husband. Why would anyone have a hole that big in their closet? Parker said he knows it's weird having a hole in a closet and said it's an old house. Chester said he thinks Eugene made that hole in his closet and the other strange stuff in his room. Parker said he gets it, not trying to say he's weird, and asked if Chester is trying to say if Eugene took his daughters. Chester said he doesn't think him and Parker should be staying there tonight. Parker told him that he's got to be more caring to Catherine's situation and said he's understand that she's terrified of her husband. And Parker said it could be like some sort of domestic issue and said him and Chester should get rest. Chester said fine and both went to sleep. The first night begins. As the first night begun, everything was normal for 1 hour and 31 minutes. At 2:50 a.m., in Eugene's room, something suddenly emerged out of the closet floor. When it opened the door and crawled over, it suddenly screamed and went under the blankets and entered inside the lifeless body. After the body was shaking for a few minutes, it got up and sat by the edge. 2 minutes later, his skin on his hand fell off, exposing the black flesh. He picked it up and put it back on. Seconds later, he suddenly saw the camera was recording. He stared at it for a few seconds and head-butted it, causing the camera to die. Now at 3:43 a.m., he went to Catherine's room while she's asleep. He then made cracking noises and forming into a new position. A few seconds later, he was a position where he had his head twisted at 180 degrees and the body at the form of a spider. He after spitted or sneezed for times. Suddenly a black unknown creature came out and went inside Catherine's mouth. Catherine started to shake and Eugene found the camera and went over to it and destroyed that one too, ending night 1. After Parker and Chester woke up, Chester went to Catherine's room to wake her up. Once he knocked, there was no response. Chester then opened the door and see she isn't in the room and it was trash too. Chester went in and pulled over the blankets, seeing a black stuff that is probably ink on the bed. Chester ran downstairs to tell Parker Catherine is gone. Once he told him everything what happened, there were noises in the dining room. Once they see through the doorway, they saw Eugene sitting there. Parker asked where Catherine was. He said she went on a trip. Parker and Chester left so they could talk. Chester told Parker they gotta get out of the house. Parker said he knows, but he says they gotta stay for another night. Chester asked what's going on his head. Parker told him again Catherine and Michelle are now missing and say that they got to record Eugene for a little longer to see if he has anything to do with it. Chester said it might be him and Parker are the next ones to get missing. Parker said if Eugene's a danger to his family, they gotta record him for evidence. With that, they went to their room and watched the footage. After they watched the footage, they went back to Eugene's room to fix the camera. Once they got in, Parker go fix the camera while Chester looks around again. Chester found a diagram paper that says, Meat Husk, showing 3 drawings of the body. Possibly it could be Eugene's own body, and the opening on the back could possibly be where his flesh creature form enter inside. After Parker finished fixing it, Chester said Eugene got a weird drawing on the table. Then suddenly, Eugene appeared at the doorway of his room. Parker came up a lie and told him that they were looking for the bathroom, and Chester agreed, said they got lost. After no response, Parker asked if everything alright. Eugene asked what kind of meat do they like. Parker tried to ask what he meant by that, but suddenly his skin on his hand slipped off after Parker pulled on it. Both Parker and Chester were shocked. Chester asked Parker if they could go home because he started to feel sick. Parker said they gotta stay for one more night because Catherine and Michelle are missing. Chester pleaded to leave but failed and had no choice to say fine. So then, they went back to their room. Once they went to the room, Chester said he doesn't know if he wants to do the horror adventures anymore. Parker told him to calm down and said they gotta stay for one more night, and he put a smaller camera in Eugene's room, so he is not gonna know that they're recording. Chester said Eugene is not gonna care if they're recording, and said he took his daughter and his wife and said we'll be next. Parker said he gets it and said assured him Eugene could think him and Chester already went home by now. He said they gotta get sleep. Ending with that, night 2 begins. During at 1:52 a.m., the creature Ray emerged back from the floor and climbed back inside the body. After he got up, he sat there until 2:18 a.m., and then he went to his closet and squatted a little and then jumped down to the hole, making him fall into the basement. Now around at 3:03 a.m., Chester woke up to humming noises, and he woke up Parker and asked if he could hear it. Both of them got up and went follow the noise, looking for who could it be. Once they made it to the basement door, they saw it was unlocked and open. Chester said, "Let's just go back home," but Parker told him to come on, and they gotta go down. Once they went in, they continued to follow the noise. Chester said the room is really big, and they shouldn't be down there. Parker said it's fine. They went and saw a cabin-like structure. They went in, and while walking, their shoes and bottom pants get wet. Once they made it through, they moved the plastic and see there was female mannequins. Parker and Chester were weirded out by the stuff Eugene has been doing down in there. Suddenly, they heard laughter. They went go deeper in the basement and take different paths. Parker went to the path and saw a mannequin with clothes on with a wig. Parker thought it was Catherine, but it was actually a mannequin because of the face behind the wig. Chester went to the path and see more mannequins. When he turned around for a few seconds and turned back, he saw Eugene and he ran while Eugene was chasing him. Parker found Chester and both of them ran away from Eugene. Once they made it out, they went to their car and drove off back home. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe with post notifications on, so you won't miss out news on Life of Luxury and Luxury Dark, such as news, analysis, leaks, theories, etc. One more announcement: once I reach 300 subscribers, I'll upload a subscriber special video, and I promise it will be fire. That's all I got to say. I'll be going now. See you in my next video. Luxury Leaks out.